I just realized a missed opportunity. I could have filmed this video when I move house and then make it like a joke that I'm going into a portal to a different dimension when my background changed. You had one job to make this compelling, Amy. Hey guys, it's Amy here, back again with another video. In case you didn't know and have been living under a rock like Patrick Star or something, I am a Portal fantasy author. Check it out. That's my book. Portal Fantasy. ASTER'S CODA Exposure. You can buy it now. In the description. You can literally tell it's a Portal fantasy by the first line of the blurb. And there have been some Portal fantasy classics that have defined fantasy as a whole. Alice in Wonderland, Coraline, The Chronicles of Narnia. It's a good genre, one with limitless possibilities as you combine them with other fantasy subgenres. And as I continue to write my Portal fantasy series ASTER'S CODA, I decided to share some tips and tricks I have learned along the way in creating my masterpiece. Well, the first part in a 5-part masterpiece, because this is about making an unforgettable Portal fantasy series, and here are 7 tips to help you do that. Number 1, the gateway. This is what Portal fantasy hinges on, the actual portal, the gateway that's going to transport you from one world, magical or not, to another that is magical or not. Has there been a Portal fantasy where you just move from like one mundane Earth to like a different mundane Earth? Yes, Amy, that's called time travel. The gateway or portal is what the subgenre is known for, so you need to make sure you get that part of it right. I don't mean making the portal itself as original as possible. Trust me, we do not want to see a toilet as a portal. Not unless you're doing a rewrite of the DreamWorks movie Flushed Away. You need to consider why your gate is there and why your portal is important to the story. It must be used and reused. Because your story may involve a character balancing life between these two worlds and using the portal to do so. Maybe they're guarding it from people who aren't very fond of the portal existing, or shouldn't know that the portal should exist. Or maybe the plot hinges on falling into this portal and trying to find a way to get back out of it. Your portal needs to be relevant in the way that it connects worlds, otherwise you could rewrite it as a high fantasy or an urban fantasy or something, and nothing would end up changing significantly. Number 2, dropping hints. Even before we pass worlds, we need to know that it might be there. We need to get the breadcrumbs out there and drop hints of this world's existence. These hints will eventually serve as a way for our characters to cross worlds. Because of this, we may be spending a fair amount of time at the start of this novel or series with all these little bits and pieces of the magical world popping up around the main character and what they see. We need to draw their suspicion and their curiosity. Alice just didn't go down the rabbit hole on her own, she followed the white rabbit in a waistcoat. And your story's white rabbit will either hinge to the exciting incident or the catalyst that'll get your characters to go through the portal. So what is it? Is it something there to pique the character's interests or to kill them? Is the character supposed to know about this world, or is it being hidden from them? Maybe the audience sees these hints while the main character does not because they're oblivious and stupid. All the while, have your character who hasn't gone into this world be scared and make assumptions and doubt. We don't always want them running into the portal straight away. We want enough content to tempt them and keep them guessing. Number 3, the passage. We want to see what this new world has to offer, so the passage through this portal is going to be crucial. A huge emphasis needs to be made when we cross through this portal for the first time. We need to be able to notice the differences between it and have a sort of emotional build-up surrounding it. Like how I recently watched the Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe movie, and the scene in which Lucy eventually goes into the wardrobe is quite slow-paced and has a lot of build-up around it because it's emphasizing how important the wardrobe as the portal is. And more importantly, your character needs a reason to go through that portal. There are a multitude of tropes and ways for this to happen. And whatever the reason, it must be clear, and it must either connect to the inciting incident, create a motivation for the character, or hinge on an existing motivation for the character. Are they saving somebody, or are they saving themselves from trouble? Do they want to go in, or are they getting forced into it? Did they come across it by accident, or did they purposefully go in? And when they go in, they will have, number 4, new eyes. Your characters who enter this portal will be changed, whether they decide to go back through it or not. They're not just waltzing into Kmart or anything. Although apparently there's been videos floating around of TikTok of people entering Kmart for the first time, and they are really wowed by it. I don't experience that, probably because there's been a Kmart like a 20-minute walk away from my house for like as long as I can remember, and so Kmart's just always been a part of my life. I should stop talking about Kmart. Something will change their brains and the way that they see things once they enter this new world. This is because it's going to create a perception on the old world and their old life and ways of living. The new world is going to be there to introduce them to their own flaws and ways that they're going to be changing. That is the thematic brilliance of the Portal fantasy. But in aesthetic reasons, maybe it makes their homeworld look dull. Maybe the new world is so terrifying and gritty that they become thankful for the old world that they had and the things that are provided in it. They may even try to bring things from the new world back to the old world to try and improve their own homeland. Their lesson needs to be learned through something fantastical, because trying to learn the lessons and morals from a mundane world clearly didn't work on them. The Fates have decided that this character must learn through magic. The Fates being you. You are the author. You are the literal god of this world. Well, world, because it's a portal fantasy. And there's usually more than one world in a portal fantasy. Number 5, fish out of water. When the character does cross over worlds, they're not gonna be amphibious. They're not a frog hopping in and out of the water as much as they bloody well please. Your character over the course of the world will be very out of place when they first go into the portal world. Even if they do have some kind of connection to it, like, I don't know, secretly their mother was an elf? That's boring. And to make this juicy, they need to be out of place to the point where it could get them into trouble. Throughout the course of your novel or your series or whatever story that you are writing, your character is going to have to learn to survive and adapt. Survive and adapt to fitting in, or just, survival in the not dying sense. And after this, when they have learned all that there is to learn, they're going to be choosing whether the old world or the new world is right for them. Whether they will embrace it, or they will run from it. This thought may even end up changing their goals. Like the example in the hero's journey where they return to without. But whatever happens when they first enter this world, they're going to be super skeptical and out of place. Maybe they don't even want to fit in. But eventually, they will find ways. Even if that involves people helping them out. Which leads us to number 6, intercultural impacts. This is totally underutilized and something that I am developing like mad in ASTER'S CODA. What does one world think of the other world? If this portal has been used a lot and has been there for a very long time, there's obviously going to be more connections than, oh look, it's an alien. People will know about it, and then people will make these connections with others. It basically works the same way that countries do. And yes, that connection can even include some form of secrecy. Whatever happens when these two worlds connect, things are going to happen. And they need to be made big deals of, like in Narnia when humans entered it for the first time, a prophecy came out. And here I go being a Brachiosaurus and telling you how it works in my own ASTER'S CODA series. 3 worlds and their connections to each other and how they interpret having these portals. Phaedos, where the portals first started popping up to go to the next world, simply sees these portals as a form of immigration. This could be to take a break from their world, such as somebody going to the US to have a holiday and go to Disneyland. Corin, which is in the middle of these 2 worlds, has got overlaps to 2 different worlds, Phaedos and Earth. Because of this, they consider themselves to be a big cultural hub in which these cultures can connect and intermingle. They incredibly embrace cross-world relations. Compare that to Earth, who got portals the most recently out of all 3 of the worlds. Few people know about them, but there are myths and legends to explain instead what has actually happened, such as the Bermuda Triangle. So you can get yourself creative with however you want to connect these worlds. You can just treat them like you would any other kind of inter-empire or intercultural connections. And number 7, hold the world ransom for $1 million. Wait, that means if Dr. Evil knew about another world existing, he would hold them both ransom for $2 million. Do people still know and use that joke? I should know because I'm the AuthorTube baby on here. What I'm basically saying is that the stakes need to be tied to both worlds. I don't mean that both worlds are going to get destroyed though. I mean, it could be, but that's not the only thing you can do. But if something is going to fail in one world, then something should fail in the other world as well. It really ups the tension tenfold. This leaves your characters in mind with narrower solutions and narrower chances. If you can't escape this world, you're going to die in it. If dark powers take over this world, they're going to be moving on to this other world through the portal in a matter of months. If the character can't complete a perilous quest, there is no way that they're going to be able to get back home. Or they just didn't know about the ruby slippers and the power that they had because when they got them, the person who gave them to them was like, oh, let's just test you. Plot holes in Wizard of Oz. Basically, make your ripples go far out into the worlds. And there we go, those are 7 tips to help you with writing your portal fantasies. Now if you did enjoy this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you are new around here. You can ring that bell to find out when I post more creative content. And like I said at the start of this video, Portal Fantasy, ASTER'S CODA exposure. Follow Abby Tacker as she dives into the 3 worlds inspired by Men in Black, but the fantasy edition. Links to purchase are in the description in ebook and paperback. And while you're down there, you can check out my Instagram, my Fiverr, my TikTok, and my website. Stay creative, everybody, and I'll be seeing you in the next video.